Looking at the weather, Lithgow, you're going to get to 10 degrees today. That'll be exciting for you. Springwood, you're going to get to 15. It's now 12 and feels like 10. And here in the upper mountains, it is 6. And there's no hazard reduction going on anywhere in the mountains. A couple of little grass fires in parts of the state, but nothing that's too close to us here in Katoomba.
Hi, Pat. And that was Eartha Kitt. Hasn't she got a beautiful voice? I want to be evil. Well, that's the end of the programme today. I've got Axel in the studio. Good afternoon, Axel. You're on the air.
Hello, Pat.
Well, I'm just going to clock off now and leave you in the hands of Axel. And there's a little bit of jazz, and it's called Buona Sera. Bye-bye from me. That's it.
I'm Axel Moline. We're here in Katoomba TAFE at the RBM headquarters. And my show is Positive Altitude. And as of this week, we're back on 89.1 FM, baby. It's actually very exciting. For the past 6 weeks, we've actually only been on air on the internet because the council's renovating their building and they knocked over our antenna as part of their renovations. And that's the core infrastructure, apparently, of the whole organisation. So it got knocked down during the renovations and they've just put it back up again.
What you're looking at in this room here, this is just where all our bits and pieces are stored, and we will get it into better condition than it is at the moment. But this is just an idea of the programs that we've got running to air at the moment. Men's mental health, blues and jazz and dance and so on. It's a real mixture of stuff, you know. It's not working. We actually pay to be on air because we get support from our sponsors, but we also contribute to the running of a station and help out whenever we can.
I actually spent most of my career working in advertising agencies, but there was about a 5-year period where I left the ad world and worked for Modular Records. Some of the acts that they had on there were Cut Copy, Presets, those kind of guys. Also had acts like Wolfmother. Eventually Tame Impala joined the rotation as well. And I was lucky enough to go and work on behalf of the company in New York for a couple of years, 2008, 2010. Came back from New York, and I remember there was a while there I was I cannot listen to any music at all. Just before the pandemic, moved back to the mountains. And one of the things I always wanted to do when I had time freed up from the crazy hours of my former life was I want a community radio show. So I was like, okay, well, I have time to do this now. There was a form to fill in on the RBM website. I was like, hey, Axel Moline, this is my phone number. Hit send. Immediately, my phone rang, and it was Ron, who was the chairman of the station at the time. He's like, do you want a show? I was like, oh, yes, I don't want to do advertising. I'm sick of it, but I want to do a show. And then after a little while, they were like, look, the most important thing is, and this is a deal breaker, that you have to volunteer for the Bunnings Barbecue if you want to have a radio show. And so it's like, okay, I think I can commit to that. And then they showed me the buttons and I was on air next week. So the radio show for sure is a big part of me reconnecting with music in a way that I hadn't felt for a while.
This Sunday from 9 to 4 p.m, some of your favourite presenters from Radio Blue Mountains will be hosting a fundraising sausage sizzle outside Bunnings in Katoomba. Come on down, meet the team, grab some free RBM stickers, enjoy a snag and a drink and support your local community radio station. That's Radio Blue Mountains, 89.1 FM, outside Bunnings in Katoomba all day this Sunday.
I'm Caroline Paydash Murphy. I lost my husband 4 years ago. Being involved in the radio with the community has really lifted my spirits, lifted my soul. It's been really helpful, and I love playing music. I love music all my life, So I love saying, okay, what's happening now? So there's a 60s fashion revival happening in London at the moment, in Europe. So I thought, okay, I'm going to tee it up with this record that I just bought called the Electric Crayon Set, and it's all these like B-side psychedelic songs from the 60s of bands that lasted about 2 years. And I'm so excited to play a record that's not on Spotify or that you never heard before, and you just go, oh, it's taken me to another world. So I just really enjoy it, and I love to be part of the community.
My name is Murray Reid, and I'm part of a team with another player called Tad Breezy, and we run the Blackheath Show. Now, the Blackheath Show is basically information for people who live in Blackheath and information for people who want to visit Blackheath, what's happening in town and what's going around. And then sometimes there is gossip, scandal. I mean, we like a bit of dirt. So it's a lot of talking. There's a lot of information, what the neighbourhood centre does and how it affects the people. We would play 6 songs an hour, which for a radio show is bugger all, but that's what we do. We're a talking show. I've been a volunteer with the neighbourhood centre for ages. They asked me did I want to go and do the radio show, and yes, I did, partly because I've always wanted to do a radio show, and but when they offered it to me and they pay the fees, I don't get any money for it. I thought, wow, give it a go, and it's really quite enjoyable. Public domain is really good, and the other thing is that when you're in a small country town, you've got to keep the things that make the town good, because if you step back for a second, they stop and the town implodes. So it's very important that you keep whatever is making that town work and work really well. When I moved up here, Springwood was a very community place, but they let their markets go, they let their things go, and it's changed the character of it, and it's happening with the middle of the mountains, and we're determined that it's not going to happen with the top of the mountains by keeping these things going. You can't believe how important it is. It's life and death of a town. I was overseas for a long time, and I was in England, and the thing that really fascinated me was even in big cities, you've still got that little village feel about a suburb, and that's really important, and it's very maturing for the people growing up there. And so when you get to Blackheath, I found the same thing, and that's why I worked very hard to keep it going.
My shows are all about love, darling. My second name is Catch Love, and I was born with it, so don't give me no trouble. So I have from 7 till 11 on Tuesdays, which is called Catch the Loves, in which I talk about love. And I do Ask Roz, which is a tourism show too, on Fridays. Mostly I want to say that community radio is ours. It's whoever's watching this and me, because it's run by volunteers. So if you're doing anything out there that's extraordinary, please don't hesitate. Get in touch with us, come on air, talk about it.
I remember after I started, I've been doing it for a little while, and because we have no idea how many people are actually listening, I sort of saying to my mum, is this kind of like a weird ego thing? Like I'm sort of playing all my music, kind of broadcasting it out to maybe nobody. And she's like, I wouldn't say that's the case. And it's something that I've noticed in the kind of 2 years since I probably had that conversation with her. She said there's probably a lot of people in the mountains who, the first thing they do in the morning is get up and turn on Radio Blue Mountains, and they have it on all day. People love having a direct connection to live media. I think there's a space for mega kind of media, and I actually think that's created more space for local media, because they can't do that. When there's a crash on the highway and people are stuck in traffic, they'll turn into Radio Blue Mountains because they'll know that we will probably be talking about it if something like that is going on. Or there's bushfires or anything like that. This kind of immediate, live, localized community radio station is important.